I was always drawn to the strange and mysterious, so when an old bookseller in the heart of the city offered me a peculiar manuscript, I couldn't resist. The shop was a dusty, dimly lit place filled with ancient tomes and yellowed pages that seemed to whisper secrets. The moment I laid eyes on the manuscript, I knew my life was about to change forever. My name is Robert, and I had always been a writer with an insatiable thirst for stories. The manuscript was a thick, leather-bound book with pages that felt like parchment. Its cover was etched with bizarre symbols and a title that seemed almost mocking: The Chronicle of Despair. The bookseller, an elderly man with a gnarled beard, warned me of its curse. He claimed that the manuscript held the darkest secrets of those who had owned it, and that reading it would lead to madness. I chuckled at the old man's superstitions, paid a modest sum, and took the manuscript home. As I delved into its pages, I realized that it was no ordinary book. It contained tales of woe and despair, each more haunting than the last. The stories seemed to pull me in, to envelop me in their darkness, and I found myself unable to put the manuscript down. The first story spoke of a cursed painting, an eerie portrait that trapped the souls of those who gazed upon it. The second told of a haunted house with walls that bled and whispered secrets in the dead of night. The more I read, the more I became convinced that these stories were not mere fiction, but glimpses into a malevolent reality. As days turned into weeks, I couldn't tear myself away from the manuscript. I became obsessed with it, spending sleepless nights reading its tales of torment and despair. My mind began to unravel, and I felt a growing sense of dread that I couldn't shake. One evening, as I read a particularly chilling story about a cursed mirror, I noticed something strange in the reflection, a shadowy figure standing behind me. I turned around, but there was no one there. I dismissed it as a trick of the light, but the feeling of being watched lingered. With each passing day, the shadowy figure grew more distinct, its presence a looming specter in the corners of my vision. It whispered in a voice like rustling leaves, its words unintelligible but filled with malice. I could feel its eyes on me, cold and hungry. I tried to rid myself of the manuscript, to burn it or bury it deep in the earth, but it always found its way back to me. It was as if the cursed book had become a part of my very soul, its stories seeping into my consciousness, driving me further into madness. I became a recluse, barricading myself in my dimly lit apartment, the manuscript my only companion. I couldn't escape its hold on me, and the shadowy figure grew more powerful with each passing day. It whispered secrets in the dead of night, secrets that sent shivers down my spine and filled me with terror. One night, as I sat in the dim glow of a single candle, the figure materialized before me, its form shifting and twisting like smoke. It reached out with long, skeletal fingers and touched the manuscript, its touch sending waves of icy dread through my body. With a voice that seemed to echo from the depths of the abyss, it spoke, "You have read the tales of despair, and now you shall become one of them." The room grew impossibly cold, and the manuscript burst into flames, its pages turning to ash before my eyes. The shadowy figure let out a haunting, triumphant laugh as I screamed in terror. As the flames consumed the manuscript, I felt a searing pain in my chest, as if something was tearing me apart from the inside. I watched in horror as my own body began to disintegrate, my flesh and bone turning to ash like the cursed book. In my final moments, I realized the truth. I had become one of the stories in the manuscript, a tale of woe and despair etched in the pages of a cursed book. My existence was now bound to its dark, twisted narrative, a prisoner of the Chronicle of Despair. And as the flames consumed me entirely, I could hear the shadowy figure's sinister laughter echoing in the void, a chilling reminder that some stories are best left untold.